Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
Is 5:07. Good morning. This 30th day of September. It's the last day of September, last day of the fiscal year, last day of government funding. Could have a shutdown, might not. Even if we do have a shutdown, it's not really a shutdown anyway, is it? It's so confusing. I'm glad we're here together to talk about it. Also, coming up at 6:35, Ron Halbert, Chief Executive Officer of the Jewish Community Relations Council here in Greater Washington. We might have a peace deal here. In fact, after President Trump announced a peace deal for the resolution of the conflict in Gaza, multiple Arab nations came out with a joint statement saying they supported that deal too. Of course, the Palestinians have never not found a way to choose war and death over peace, but we shall see what happens. Ron Halbert, 6:35. 7:05, former Governor John Sununu of New Hampshire will be joining us. Discuss the potential for a government shutdown and how it might impact your air travel. 7:35, Kurt Schlichter. 8:05, John Schanzer with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Talk about that meeting with Netanyahu yesterday. And then at 8:35, Congressman Andy Harris, also about the potential for a government shutdown. Do you see a theme for today's show? It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning. How are you?
You got to deal with government shutdowns when you were a federal worker, right?
Sure.
Did it ruin your life?
Always stressful. No, but I also, I have a husband who's, government contractor. So, there's that worry too. And, people feel it around these parts, around these parts. But, you don't only have to work on the Hill or, be a direct government worker, to feel this. There's just look, this is a company town, and people feel it. People worry.
There have been so many clean continuing resolutions over the course of the last several years that Democrats and Republicans have both voted for, that if there isn't one this time, because Democrats won't vote this time around, it's kind of hard for them not to take the blame for this.
Right, it is. And they're going to stand on
this. And I think they
this.
know that.
Yeah, and they're going to stand on, the Medicare issues and say, well, we're standing up for Americans and, health care and stuff like that. And they're going to try to spin this. But I don't think it's working. I think that...
Well, and there's funding for the Medicare programs that they claim they're trying to stop, or the Affordable Care Act funding. Yep. So in reality, they want to increase the funding to cover the illegal immigrants that have been...
Right.
Yeah. And, and also you've got the Trump administration for the first time in our lifetimes. Russ Vought, director of OMB, has basically said, okay, listen, if there's a government shutdown, that doesn't mean everybody, this whole thing where everybody gets pink slips and people get laid off and then they come back to work and they get their, that's not written in stone. We don't have to do that. There's tons of federal workers that we can just dismiss and say you're no longer needed. Yep. And then when the funding it gets reinstated to the government, which it will, then we can rehire based on our own criteria. And we don't have to rehire union members. We don't have to do this. We don't have to. And he's basically daring them, saying, go ahead, test me.
Yeah.
And,
why not clean out the mess that is the federal government? Why not use this as an opportunity to reassess?
That's right. Give me an opportunity to dismiss employees who are, SEIU employees or AFSCME employees or whoever that are part of this union and part of the bloated government bureaucracy. And then we can rehire on our own terms. And here's the great thing and the beautiful thing with DOGE and everything that's, started this administration. Democrats have been out there in the streets protesting, saying these people are draconian and they're going to fire which is not what they've not been wanting to fire government workers. But now they're in a stare down, and Democrats have to believe their own rhetoric. I mean, if they allow that to happen and they gamble wrong and Russ Vought does sort of do mass firings and reorient the federal government, what are they supposed to do? We had no idea they were going to do this. No, you've been saying they're going to do this since day one.
Yep.
So either way, and listen, if you believe that the Trump administration would like to reconstitute the federal workforce in a leaner, more efficient, and less politically active makeup, then you've got to believe that they will make good on their threats if there is, in fact, a window of opportunity to do just that. And the Democrats could very well be handing them that opportunity.
Well, I certainly hope they do. I certainly hope that we see this as that Russ Vogt and others use this as an opportunity to streamline the government. Any opportunity.
As long as any of our listeners don't get fired, of course.
Well, that's true.
Our listeners are the good guys. They're the good federal workers. Everybody knows that.
That's right.
Yeah. But it is a trap. Eric Erickson, radio talk show host out of Georgia. He laid it out this way. Here, let me just quote what he put out. It's exactly the right analysis. Here's the trap Democrats are walking into with the shutdown. OMB can reduce discretionary agencies in force. Instead of layoffs, they can fire and reduce the workforce. When the agencies are funded again, because the staff were fired, not laid off, the agencies can be expanded, hirings can happen, new people can fill the jobs, or they can go back and selectively choose the good people that they liked, that were good employees, to fill the jobs. MAGA can be embedded into the bureaucracy. See, right now the bureaucracy is embedded with Clinton and Obama.
And people. Obama, absolutely. We have this permanent bureaucracy.
Right.
It's the fourth branch of government. So, go on.
Every time there's a Democrat in office, there is look at all the new jobs. And like 90% of the new jobs in America are federal employees. Yeah. So they reload with all these Obama loyalists and Biden loyalists. Republicans never play this game. Now they have an opportunity to fire. So MAGA can be embedded into the bureaucracy, suddenly protected from firings thanks to both the civil service laws and the rulings of progressive judges against Trump in the last 9 months. Suddenly Democrat constituencies are out of the bureaucracy. MAGA is in, and the public sector unions that fund the Democrats are screwed.
Larry, you want to know why it's so funny. People in Northern Virginia and also Maryland and the all around DC, they for the last couple years, particularly about last 5 years, people have been like, what is going on? When did it become so crazy around here? And a lot, especially Fairfax residents, they go, Fairfax used to be, pretty moderate. Now it's just these ridiculous leftist radicals that are ruling everything. You want to know why? Because prior to Clinton, these people used to go home, okay? Bush ended his presidency. Everybody went back to Texas,
you go
right?
Back to your
you went back home, exactly. Right? Yeah, and you had a career there. There was a change in Washington after Clinton. Clinton embedded all of his people in these agencies, and they stayed there. And then Obama did the same thing. They stayed there. And so the reason it is so radical in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. is because they all stayed. They didn't go back to Chicago. They didn't go back to Arkansas. They stayed here. And so that's why you have all these problems in Northern Virginia and Maryland, because these people live here now. And if Bush did that to any extent, it was mostly in the infrastructure of Homeland Security or the intelligence agencies that were built up big time after 9/11. And they didn't really have a political perspective beyond just, protecting the homeland and fighting terrorists. But they just didn't stay in the numbers. Clinton saw a value. He could stay in power by embedding his people into these agencies, creating this permanent left-wing bureaucracy. It was on purpose, Larry.
And with Obama, it was times 10.
Oh.
In Department of Agriculture, in the Department of Health and Human Services. Oh, yeah, after the Obamacare, Health and Human Services, quadrupled, quintupled, and they're all Obama people. And that's what happens with the permanent political class and the bureaucracy. And now
there's an opportunity.
Trump's people are like, okay, we're going to fire all of you, and we'll rehire, but we're going to rehire MAGA people. Now what are you going to do?
Do it.
And the unions lose their class. It's an amazing little stare down that is happening, and we'll see what happens. And we've got full coverage on it today with former Governor John Sununu as well as Congressman Andy Harris. It's 5:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Here's Russ Vogt yesterday after there was a meeting between the White House and congressional leaders. Take a listen to your director of OMB, Cut 1.
We want to keep this government open. It is not good for the American people to have the government shut down for any period of time. We will manage it appropriately, but it is something that can all be avoided. It can all be avoided by accepting a reasonable position, which is what the House has passed and what sits at the Senate desk, which is to continue to fund the government with a short-term continuing resolution. It has never been a viewpoint that $1.5 trillion is a reasonable amount of spending to be included on a short-term CR. This is hostage-taking. It is not something that we are going to accept, and we hope that the Democrats come back to the brink, fund this government, and allow us to move forward. Thank you.
Right.
Mr. Vice.
There you go. And yes, that's it. Hostage-taking is the appropriate analogy here because, again, we've had clean continuing resolutions to keep the government funding while the next budget is worked out for something like 15 votes now in a row. Suddenly now Democrats are saying, nope, we want $1.5 trillion. And what are they going to do with it? Well, you know what they're going to do with it. They're going to fund all of the programs that just got reduced in the last budget go around, all of the things that you voted for. And Russ Vought is saying, okay, I dare you. I dare you. You're going to force this issue, then people will get fired, and they'll be replaced by, people that aren't necessarily as supportive of the left-wing agenda in this town. So it's kind of a twofer. In fact, behind closed doors, I have no doubt Russ Vought just stares at these people and says, just give me one reason. Just go ahead.
Yep.
Just try me. Test me. It's midnight tomorrow, by the way, is the deadline. Not midnight. Did I say midnight tonight?
Well,
I thought it was September 30th.
I think
Now, according to Fox News, it's midnight Wednesday to pass the short-term funding extension. That's when it will trigger in. By the way, Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid, Postal Service, Veterans Affairs hospitals and clinics, Immigration and Border Patrol security activities, those all stay locked in. You know the stuff that gets shut down. You know the stuff that... My favorite stat is always that 92% of the staff at the EPA are kept home because they're not essential. 92% of the Environmental Protection Agency. With all due respect to Director Lee Zeldin, if 92% of your employees are non-essential, maybe we need to start reducing the staff. What is going
Why do you
on there?
exist?
92%.
Maybe just, I don't know, just make it land management. Just the whole thing. Sorry to any EPA.
I know. No, I knocked you off your train of thought with that little tidbit. Here, regroup while we hear from Speaker Mike Johnson.
I was just going to say, look, I think the American public also, are a little bit, I think there's sympathy for federal workers out there and people that might be affected by this. Obviously, there is sympathy for the good people who do work in these federal agencies. But after DOGE, after seeing the hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars supporting things like Planned Parenthood and, all of these ridiculous expenditures, and little pet projects, leftist pet projects. I think the American public is pretty tired of this kind of waste. And so there might be a little bit of patience on the part for Republicans in this.
I think you're right, except for one. And again, it's our job to analyze this from our perspective and the perspective of our listeners and this radio station where it's situated. If there is a government shutdown, which, of course, I think you all can read how we feel about that. And it's, this is a game of political poker. And if people lose their jobs, I think anyone, it would be awful on a personal basis. But like I said, I think that Russ Vought then has the opportunity to reconstitute the federal workforce. And so it could be a fascinating thing to watch. But the reality is, you're right, the American people have tolerance for this. I don't know about Virginia voters. And we are now 4 weeks away. And if there is a government shutdown, I don't think that's good politically for Winsome Sears. It gives Abigail Spanberger a major, major issue going into Election Day.
I see your point, but I do think that the Youngkin administration has done a tremendous amount to try to draw some of those federal workers into Virginia positions. There are a lot of positions in Virginia.
I agree.
And I think that the Youngkin administration has done great work on that. And I definitely see your point, but I think Youngkin has really tried hard to mitigate that.
It's a minefield. And Winsome Sears, if she, comes out and opposes the Trump administration on it, that could hurt her with her base. If she supports it gives Abigail Spanberger a ad to run. So keep an eye on that. I think they're going to resolve this. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson yesterday after that meeting.
This is very important on health care. Their counterproposal, what Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are demanding, is that they claw back the $50 billion that we put into the rural hospital support structure. They want to take that back. We're not going to do that. We passed that because we have to allow for that. Also, if they shut the government down, not only are troops unpaid, federal workers, and all the services that everybody relies upon, but the WIC program, the nutrition program, women, infant, and children, they will not get that program, will not be funded. FEMA won't be funded. We have hurricanes off the coast of the United States right now. This is serious business. You have telehealth, you have mental health services, all that's funded by the government would stop if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats have their way. The Democrat shutdown would be damaging for the country. We can't allow for it.
Yeah, listen, they're on message and they've got the talking points, and it's just a question as to whether the Democrats, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, have the wherewithal to try to push them and play this game of chicken, this game of poker. One other thing real fast, this is one of the reasons why many of us always resist the idea of government-funded health care and getting the government involved in your medical appointments and your doctor's appointments, because the second you have any kind of budget challenge or political showdown over spending for the government, it always relates right back to you being able to go to a doctor, and the two should not be connected ever. Because then your visits to your doctor becomes a political weapon to use in this game, and that should never be the case. 524.
Coming up, we'll have an update on that Des Moines school superintendent who was an illegal alien. He's apparently from Maryland, another Maryland man. We've got the latest. Keep it here. It's 5:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
5:37 on O'Connor and Company. Thanks for tuning in here this morning, where we have a couple of major stories that we're tracking. Coming up at 6:35, Ron Halber will join us from the Jewish Community Relations Center, talk about the potential peace deal coming out of that meeting with Netanyahu yesterday with Trump. 7:05, former Governor John Sununu will talk about the pending government shutdown and how it might impact air travel. 7:35, Kurt Schlichter will join us. 8:05, Jonathan Schanzer of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, talk about that potential peace deal. And 8:35, Congressman Andy Harris on the potential shutdown. Those are the two big stories. Oh, and the third big story, of course, is the local shortage of bananas. If you're having trouble at your local grocery store getting bananas, we're going to explain why coming up in a couple of moments. Julie Gunlock will give us a first-hand report on that. Julie, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning.
You go in and you get the shopkeeper will say, yes, we have no bananas. There you go. A little Harry Chapin reference. We have an update on one Dr. Ian Roberts. Doesn't ring a bell? Oh, sure, you remember Dr. Ian Roberts. He has many doctorates, we think, we're told, he says. At various times, Dr. Roberts has said he was born in 1970, 1978, or 1973. Not sure, but all three of those birthdays exist on public records for Dr. Ian Roberts. See, that's just one of the things that the school board in Des Moines, Iowa could have cross-referenced and checked before they hired him as their superintendent of schools. Also, his immigration status. Yeah,
right,
sure.
right.
Simple background check. No, but instead of a background check, they decided to do the checking of the boxes, because the only reason they wanted to hire this guy, as they publicly stated, was because of diversity. Dr. Ian Roberts, of course, is the illegal immigrant from Guyana who basically got the job as the, $300,000 a year superintendent of schools in Des Moines, Iowa. And by the way, lost in all of this is the fact that Iowa schools are failing. Des Moines, Iowa schools in particular, are failing, and parents are taking their kids out of it. But the school board members felt so good about themselves, including the chair of the school board, who was running for Senate as a Democrat in Iowa and as the former chief of staff of Michelle Obama. So we brought you up to speed, except for this. There is a Maryland connection. Apparently, he's not an Iowa man. He's not a Guyana man. He's a Maryland man. He used to live right here. He was the principal of a couple of schools in the Anacostia area in Prince George's County, Maryland. In fact, one of those schools, an Anacostia Academy, hosted First Lady Michelle Obama as the commencement speaker. That could be how Dr. Roberts got into the orbit there of the woke crowd. He then went on to become a superintendent of schools of a mid-sized district in the state of Pennsylvania before Des Moines. But here's the really interesting thing. While he was in Maryland, he was a registered Democrat.
That's right.
It may not be surprising that he's a Democrat, but it should be disconcerting that he was registered because, again, he's an illegal immigrant, Julie. Why is he registering to vote? I was told this never happens.
It's incredibly also disturbing that he was around children when you can't verify anything about him in terms of his birth date or his immigration status. And the fact that listen, Lindsay, our friend Lindsay Fifield, who hosts the show quite often, she made a great observation on Twitter. She said, I have to get fingerprints done and have a massive background check and then probing around in my past in order to accompany my child on a field trip. Okay. And this is true. Look, I've been through this. You have to be verified. You literally cannot accompany your child on a field trip unless you go through this background check. Okay. And for various reasons, okay, that I'm not going to criticize, but it is pretty rigorous. And this guy is a principal of a local school and then keeps going up the ladder. I mean, at what point, it's not just this Iowa failure. In Maryland, where they appointed this guy as a principal, did they do a background check? I mean, this is really concerning. And again, when you base your hiring on DEI, not on qualifications, not on, I don't know, being a citizen, this is what you get.
Or being truthful or factual in your biography. Yeah. In fact, and for everyone who's like, oh, you shouldn't call him a DEI hire just because he's African American. First of all, he's not African American. Guyana's in South America, number one, and he's black, but he's not American because he doesn't have citizenship. So stop with all of that.
Yeah.
But the reason that we're calling him a DEI hire is because he and the Des Moines school system called him a DEI hire.
Yeah.
Here's the announcement of his hiring, October 23, from the Des Moines Register. The shift, which Roberts discussed during a public forum Sunday, affords officials at Iowa's largest and most diverse school system another tool in reaching its longtime goal of diversifying its staff, top administrators say. Top administrators. So they bragged about the fact that hiring him allows us to diversify our staff, which is our goal.
They wanted to diversify it all the way out of the country.
Yeah. But can we now have some investigation as to what his voting habits were? We know he was registered to vote, which is illegal. That's a federal crime. Do we know if he voted or not? And again, and everybody who tells me that, just because someone's in the country illegally doesn't mean they're registered to vote, and it doesn't mean they voted. So if you're willing to break our immigration laws and enter our country illegally, you're willing to break those laws by staying in our country illegally. You're willing to break those laws by living in this country and working in this country illegally, which also means you're probably breaking our identity theft laws by working in this. It also means you're breaking our tax laws by working in this country illegally. You're lying on federal forms to get a job or to get even an appointment or an interview, to be the superintendent of schools of the Des Moines school system. If you're willing to break all of those laws, why isn't it also logical you're willing to break the laws against voting?
Well, breaking laws apparently was acceptable to the people of Des Moines. They actually changed their hiring practices to allow people with criminal records to hold these positions, Larry. And the stated goal was diversifying the staff. So their diversity doesn't just mean, a range of lifestyle choices and colors. No, it means people who aren't even citizens and criminals. How charming.
I think Governor Wes Moore needs to assure the people of Maryland that their vote was not negated by an illegal alien. And maybe they should purge all of the voter rolls to make sure that anyone who's registered is a citizen. Just a thought. 544.
Your next $1,000 could be one text away. It's $5K a day on WMAL.
Just as a point of clarification, I mentioned that the government shutdown is looming as of midnight tonight, and I was confused because one Fox News article said midnight Wednesday. I guess it depends on, I guess midnight technically is the beginning of Wednesday morning. But the point is, it's tonight. 11:59 p.m. is the looming deadline. Julie Gunlock, that brings us to the question of bananas. People oftentimes facing a government shutdown, potential whatever crisis, people hoard up on toilet paper during the pandemic. I never quite understood that. And apparently you're having an issue with bananas in your home. What happened?
If you're having trouble finding bananas in the Northern Virginia region, it's because I have them all. I do the online shopping where you then go and pick them up. They shop for you because I'm busy. And I want 6 bananas, and I got 6 bunches of bananas. So I have like 200 bananas at my house. I mean, literally there were 3 shopping bags just with bananas in them. So, and I'm not going to complain and go back upstairs and say, no, I need to return. I'm not going to return the bananas. So anyway,
wait. Why wouldn't you return the banana? That seems like the logical choice to make.
I honestly think I felt stupid. So I was just like, oh, thanks for my 300 bananas. Bye. The woman was even looking at me like,
better to have a kitchen full of bananas than
my kids
appear
are
stupid to the grocery clerk.
Totally. And we are in danger of potassium ODing here at the Gunlock house. My children are so tired of bananas. They get one in every lunch. They get one at dinner. They get one for a snack. And there'll be banana bread being made soon because they're already starting to brown.
Well, see, this is my concern. Bananas notoriously do not have an extended shelf life.
That's right.
Do you have any tricks to keep them sort of
well, you can freeze them. And there's a danger of sounding like Abigail Spamberger here because she actually did suggest you freeze your bananas. You can freeze them.
They're good for the smoothie that way.
Well, and they're good for banana bread that way. You just toss them and they're already, kind of brown and mushy at that point. Anyway, so that's what I'll do. I will freeze the bananas if it comes to that. But I'm annoyed. I also feel like if you're a shopper, does someone really need 200 bananas? You could probably call. Yeah.
Somebody should at the grocery store when they see the digital orders say, "Hey, maybe we should cross-check this."
But maybe they're enjoying it.
They know exactly what happened and they think it's hilarious. But a bunch is not a unit of measurement. I mean, if you were to say, give me, if you say, give me 8 bananas, that should mean 8 individual bananas. Right. Because
I think
it's not like, because a bunch, okay. How many in a bunch?
Well, I think you just order a bunch and then it says there 5 to 6 typically, or 4 to 5 typically. Like it says that. I just wasn't reading the print. Well, from now on. But you're right. I mean, it just seems intuitive that I want 6 bananas, so I put 6 bananas on there, but that's 6 bunches. So be careful, everyone. Just know that that's what you'll get.
Can we just hear from Cut 6 here real fast? Because we weren't sure which one to use, so let's start with this one. If you don't mind.
A-N-A-N-A-N. Bananas. It's good that you bleeped that. I love that song.
A little Gwen Stefani. I think whenever the boys come down,
I will be blasting that.
You should play that. Or if you want to go old school, we can go Harry Chapin with Cut 7.
Thank you. Yes.
This is what your house is.
I think that's more appropriate. Yes.
Consumed with 30,000 pounds of bananas.
Smell. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, bananas have a distinct smell. Also, where are you storing all of these bananas?
On my counter. On my very large, tall, it's long counter.
I mean, I've been in your kitchen. You don't have a ton of counter space.
I do have a big counter. I have that one big counter.
Oh, the one that juts out and extends.
Yes, right. I have a big. Anyway, it's a.
But you get all defensive about your counter space. I have plenty of counter space for my extraordinary number of bananas. It's going to be fine. They're healthy and they're good for you. And I'm excited for all the banana bread that you're going to bring to the office.
Yeah. Yep. Just wait. Just wait. Right. Nuts or no nuts? I like nuts I like walnuts in my banana bread.
I'm fine either way.
Okay.
All right. There you go. There's your banana story. There is a banana run. There's a banana shortage, and just in time for the government
if anybody
shutdown.
needs any
It's
bananas,
like everything.
contact
It's a
me.
confluence of tragedies. 5:53.